Hello, everybody, and welcome to Powerful Conversations. I have got the coolest bunch of people in our class today. How's everybody doing? So you have to unmute yourselves now.
Doing good.
Are you doing good? Yeah. So is everybody staying healthy and staying mindset healthy as well?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good, 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 good. Well, you know what? We're here today, and obviously one of the things, especially in our new climate, that we want to make sure we're doing is really having powerful communication. Now, what I want to know from you guys as we start off here is, what do you want to get out of our time today?
I guess for me, it's, really understanding the attachments, when you're bringing on something to show.
Okay.
That's,
so in Zoom, right?
yes. So in Zoom.
Okay. All right.
For any tips that I would otherwise have to go and search for myself. And so
Okay.
I like to get it without having to work for it.
Okay. That sounds leverage. I like that. Yes. Very, very much. Yeah. And I think there'll be some really interesting things that'll tie into some of the stuff you've already been doing, Lindsay. So I think that'll be lots of fun. What else, guys?
I know that there is, I don't even know how to phrase it, but I know that Kirsten O'Shields, she'll do something like on Zoom and combine BombBomb and Zoom together. And I'm not sure what she's doing, but.
So she's probably recording something on Zoom and then uploading it within her BombBomb? Okay.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. I'm just making sure I capture everything.
And then I've noticed, when I talk with Andrea, she just says, she sends me a Zoom link and all I do is put in her phone number. So simple, so easy. Then there's meetings that I've scheduled, and then there's meetings where I'll just go join and just start something right then and there, and then just send the invite from there. So, I guess what's best practices.
Okay. So some of the things we're going to be talking about today, just to let you know, guys, it won't be so much. There will be some functional with it that we can certainly take a look at, because I'm here for you guys and what you want to do. But we're also going to be talking a lot about structure and what communication is that kind of stuff too. Is that okay with everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fantastic. What else, guys? What else do we need to talk about? Nan, Elsie, Ashley, Esther? Anybody have anything else they want to make sure we cover today? You're feeling pretty good. By the way, this is going to be a highly interactive class. So I'd like everybody to do, if you do me a favor, is go ahead and take yourselves off mute and let's go ahead and start your cameras. That would be fantastic. I want to see ya.
No, I think those are organic. I think it would be a good idea too. It's better too.
Ashley, Elsie, Nan, Esther, can you guys unmute yourselves?
I am currently driving right now, so I don't know how to make the camera work on my phone while I'm doing that, but I can unmute myself.
Okay, so good. That just as long as we can hear your voice too for interaction, that'd be great.
Awesome.
This is Nan.
Hey, how are ya?
Good, how are you?
Good. Can you start your camera too?
Yeah.
Elsie, how about you? Esther, how about you? There you are. Thanks, Nan. Appreciate it. Look how beautiful you are on camera. I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's get into meat and potatoes a little bit. Okay, so I want to talk about, we're really talking about powerful communications today. So what is communication?
Oh, you were asking us?
Yeah, what is communication?
Well, communicating can happen very many different ways. It can be in person, via the phone, via email, via text, via a Zoom thing. And, to me, a conversation is something that's two ways.
Okay, right.
So it's
conversation, yes, but what about communication? Is
communication? Well, I had a light bulb moment because one of the things that I'm going to do, and I just realized this, is I was going to be doing a video based on, I can't remember what his name was. He was after James Abrams yesterday when he was talking about, he was talking about people out there need my help with my professional guidance.
Love it.
So I was putting that with another one that I had, like real estate is not a one size fits all. So I was going to kind of combine them and do a bomb video and send it out to my clients. I was thinking kind of when you said that this was going to be a different direction than I thought, why not my bomb video be an invite for my clients to join me on a Zoom call to ask questions on this topic.
Love it. So that's a beautiful way to integrate to your communications, and we're going to really get into that today. So I think you were right on kind of the track you need to go on there, Trish, that's for sure. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to share my screen with us and share that. And then I want us just to take a look at the definition here of communication. So communication basically is a noun. It says the act or process of communicating, fact of being communicated. 2, the imparting or interchange of thoughts, opinions, or information by speech, writing, or signs. 3, something imparted, interchanged, or transmitted. 4, a document or message imparting news, views, information, etc. 5, passage or opportunity of means of passage between places. And then it goes kind of on and on from there. Okay, so when we think in terms of communication, just from its own standpoint, what it was saying is an imparting of knowledge. Now, if we think of communication in that way, let's talk about effective communication. Okay, in our business, give me an example of effective communication that you've seen.
I think people posting up what is happening in their market, like daily, is a good, effective way of communicating with people.
Okay. So imparting information in one direction.
Yes.
Okay, great. What else? Ooh, Victoria, we can't quite hear you. Try.
And I think asking questions is a really good way of communicating.
Fantastic. Outstanding. And why is that a really good, effective way for communication, Victoria?
You're helping people self-discover. And I know when people ask me questions, I just feel really good about them.
Okay, perfect. So when you ask questions, you're building deeper relationship, right? So a form of communication like that, absolutely, it can be influencing as opposed to informational, right? Okay, what other examples of effective communication have you guys seen?
I've seen it from the office with all of you and Goldie and everything, just being really effective about making sure that everyone's included. And making sure instructions are clear, that sort of thing. And the sort of interactive classes.
Okay, great. So first of all, it's information is going one direction on, usually our Facebook pages is where we're doing a lot of that. So it's informational. You're saying it's highly, it's structured, right? What you're saying, as well as you like the content of it, so it's drawing you in, right? Is that what everybody's seeing? Do you see how we're looking at that? Okay, fantastic. So when we're talking about powerful, effective communications, it's always with a plan in mind. So I want you guys to write this down. The first thing we want to understand is what is your intention, either with a single piece of communication or with a communication plan. So for example, what could be an example of a communication plan if we're thinking in terms of your business?
I guess for me, a goal of communication would be to engage with a potential lead or to connect, I guess, with whoever is a current client and maintain that, that communication open.
So let's take a look at that. So let's say that all of you guys are wanting to communicate with your sphere of influence right now. Now, There could be simply a one-way back and forth piece of that. And we would want to know what the intention is on that. Or there might be a whole plan of bits of communications going along, and we want to know what that plan would be too. So the first thing to understand, regardless of whether it's a one piece of communication or if it's a plan of communication, is first of all, what's my intention? What do I intend this to be? And then the second question on that's a little bit differently is, what would the perfect outcome be for this particular plan? So what's my intention and what would the outcome be? So I'll give you an example of that because I think since Lindsay brought it up, we'll look at it. When we're thinking in terms of keeping all of our agents together and engaged and active, right? So the intention that we've had with our communications training and engagement plan, because there's an actual written out plan for what we're doing, is to make sure that our agents are moving forward in their business, they're feeling cared for, and we're giving the proper training that they can take right now to impact their business. Can you say, guys, see that intention? Has that been kind of clear in what we've been doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. So there's lots of pieces to that. Now the ultimate outcome then, our perfect outcome, is that our agents are able to stay in production and still reach their goals. So you can see the intention from our side of it, and then you see the outcome side on the other side. Does everybody make sense on that? Okay. So that's where we want to start of any idea of any communication plan. Now, this would include smart plans that you're going to be putting together inside of Command, right? So we always want to start with the end in mind. What is my intention? And then what is the perfect outcome? And we write it from there. So far with me, everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of questions do you have about that? Give me some ahas and comments just about that right now.
So this would be one of our like 36 touch type of campaigns. When we do that, are we splitting those campaigns into different categories?
It could very well be. It depends on what the intention and the outcome is.
Okay.
Because you could have a 36 touch, but let's say you've got investors on one hand, and then you've got people that you've met on open houses or first-time home buyers, right? Completely different messaging for a 36 touch. So what we want to go is, okay, what's my intention? I want on my investor side, I want to create repeat business with this, right? On my, oh, I'm sorry guys, I didn't turn my phone on. Shame on me. On the first-time home buyer side, it really is about helping educate them. Maybe my whole intention is to help educate that buyer through a process, right? So there might be different intentions, with the outcome being the investor starting to use you for projects they've got, and the first-time home buyer obviously not only using you but maybe referring you to other people.
Perfect. Okay.
See
Awesome.
what's going there? So it's getting really, really clear on the intention as well as the perfect outcome.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. What other ahas, what other questions on that?
Well, I think that really ties into like the typical marketing ideas, like what is your call to action?
Right.
And I know I've taken a Google class, was years ago now, that was all about like when you set up your ads and everything, you need to know what you want the end result to be.
Exactly. Love it. Love it. Okay, so let's talk then about different forms of communication. So what are all the forms of communication that we can use in our business? And actually, let me do this real quick. I'm going to share my screen so we can actually take some notes on what we're talking about here. Can you guys see my white pad here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the different types of communication that we use.
In phone
Phone,
communication.
yep, perfect. Phone,
Email, social media.
email. Specifically social media, which ones?
Facebook.
Facebook, Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn.
You have other ones like face-to-face, direct mail, texting.
Face to
Zoom.
face.
Paper mail.
Direct mail. Paper mail. So letters, kind of. Okay, what else?
Zoom.
Zoom, very good.
Direct messaging.
Okay, direct messaging.
Bomb.
Bomb. What else? How about advertising? So for example, in a web advert, okay, makes sense. It could be, what about a website?
Yes.
What else? Can you think of anything else?
Networking.
Networking,
It kind of ties in, right now it ties into Zoom and everything.
right, sure does. Good.
Blog.
Blog. Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's not forget YouTube and LinkedIn.
There you go. And I think we got LinkedIn. Very good.
Twitter.
Twitter. Okay.
That is one that I am still
Oh,
trying to figure out.
events.
Events. Are we getting
Signage.
good ones? One more time, Ashley.
Signage.
Signage. Perfect. Flyers.
Yeah.
You see how many forms of communication we have? All right, so we're going to go through each of them, and I want you to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being this is the lowest level of communication that I can have with someone, and then 5 being, wow, this is like the absolute highest possible level of conversation or of communication I can have with someone. Does that make sense? So 1, it's just a really low quality level of communication. 1's a high quality. Got it? So if I said on phone, making a phone call, scale of 1 to 5.
Oh, 5.
5.
I'd
Okay.
say 4.
4.
Who's got 4? Who's got 5? Who's got 4? Raise your hand.
Man, it's 4.
4? Okay, so we're going to say somewhere between 4 and 5. Does that work for you guys?
Yep.
Okay, great. How about email?
3.
3.
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say 1 if it's a mass email.
Right.
Ah, well, let's just make that a distinction then. We'll say 1. I got it. Okay, Facebook.
Depends on the part of Facebook.
There you go. Is it an ad? Is it a what's other ways we can say that? So is it direct message?
Is it a group?
Is it like? Is it a group? See how many ways we have to communicate here?
And
So
a video.
A video. Let's keep going here. So we're kind of all over the place on this one. Let's talk about a Facebook ad. What do you think?
1.
Yeah, probably a
We think
1.
it's 1?
I don't know. I
I
don't know
say
how
one.
many click on those.
I think maybe 2, because there's the call to action. Someone has to interact with it to
So
move
at least
on.
it provides some kind of interaction there. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with it 2.
Okay. How about a direct message?
3.
3? I'll get it. How
Up
about
to
if you
4 for me.
just- a 4? So should we just say 3 to 4? Okay. Great. How about just commenting inside of a group?
Mm,
2 or 3.
2 or 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Video on Facebook.
For live, I'm going to say it's a 4 with my
So
new experience.
Facebook Live. Say it's a 4. Okay. Good. I'm going to just kind of hop down to a couple other things here. Social media, we're kind of getting the understanding of just how broad that is, right? Now let's go down to face-to-face quality, 1 to 5.
5.
5.
Okay.
5.
Now, if we're saying face-to-face, does that mean that there's airspace between us, or would we consider this face-to-face?
No,
Airspace.
Okay. So true live, I'm in person with it, and that's a 5.
Yes, in person.
Okay. Direct mail.
2.
Okay.
2. Yeah.
2. Okay. Okay. Paper mail is very similar, but let's say paper mail is one that's addressed to me specifically. What would we call that?
3 or 4.
Okay. 3 or 4?
No, I don't go that high on that.
What do you think, Trish?
Well, I with her 3.
Okay. Right. Zoom like this.
I'd say 4. 4 to 5.
4.5.
Okay, I'm gonna go with you, Trish. 4.5.
That's a good one.
Okay. Let's go to Bomb Bomb.
What I love about that is you can see the people that are opening them and actually who's actually watched your video.
Okay.
So it's a good tool, but I was actually going to go into my analytics tomorrow to see what's my return on that. So I don't have an idea on that, but I know, I bet you that gets opened a lot more than me sending, like, you know, Marty has the other email newsletter that I send. I bet you the Bomb Bomb gets opened more, but I don't know. I'm going to just go with a 3 on that for now. I don't know.
Everybody agree with that?
Haven't used it, so I'm not.
I don't know.
Advertising. So we're going to say, let's say this is a web ad that you put out.
2.
You know, like when you're surfing the web and you see those ads that come up.
Yeah.
2.
I never clicked on those. I never have clicked on those, so.
Okay.
I don't
Say
know.
it's a 1.
1.
Yeah. Right. Your website.
3.
I guess it depends on the content, honestly.
Sure.
Yeah, it depends
If it
on.
has a blog attached, then that's a little bit better.
Okay.
And if they're logged in and saving things, that puts it up to like a 4 easily, because you know exactly what they're looking at, and that opens up more
Using it as
communication.
reference, yeah.
So somewhere between 2 and 4, depending, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Networking.
It depends on the actual physical situation.
Okay.
I'd say that's pretty consistently a 4.
I agree with Lindsay.
Yeah.
Sure. Great.
Yeah.
Blog.
2 or 3.
Okay. 2, 3. YouTube channel.
I guess it depends on the
Depending
content
on the
too.
material. Yeah.
Right. So you see how, guys, and we'll just kind of, we can go kind of through the rest of these, but you see how when we think about it, we can think of the effectiveness and what that looks like. Okay, I'm actually going to stop the share for a second. And I want to share my screen. First of all, tell me about give me some feedback on what that exercise just did. What thoughts came up? What ahas did you just have?
We definitely realize that we should be focusing more on the communication in what is more effective for our purpose, for our intention.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at something. There's an amazing book that I just love, and I hope all of you get it. And it's called The 7 Levels of Communication by Michael Maher. It's M-A-H-E-R. And so we were talking through some of this communication. So I'm just going to kind of go over there. And if you look at my screen, can everybody see my my pyramid on the screen right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So if we take a look at this, we take a look at the impact that certain types of communication have. And this is the way that we really can start framing what our communication needs to be. So we start off at the very bottom, which is the lowest level of impact. And it's advertising. And by the way, if you look at the right-hand side of that triangle there, it says informational zone. And then as you move up, it says influential zone. That's going to be incredibly important for our conversation, right? So if we start off with the very bottom, it says advertising. So we know that we are sending advertising out. Is that personal at all, advertising?
No.
No. It basically is, I'm just sending it out to anybody else that's out there, and it's casting a very, very wide net, but it doesn't do this and it doesn't do this, right? Then we go up to direct mail. That's another one that, again, information only. We're really just sending it out for information only. Electronic communication, email. Now, email might be more one-to-one with someone, or it might be a big blast. So it just depends. So if I've got an email newsletter versus an email that is going out to a person, what's the difference?
Usually there's a specific response that you're asked, like that they can answer.
Exactly. So if I'm talking to that person, that communication is much more personal. So if we think in terms of a big email out, so let's say I do a bomb campaign out to my database, and it's a monthly newsletter, okay? That's still an email communication of sorts, but it really is a broad stroke, and there's no guarantee that someone's going to click on it, watch it, use it. I have a higher percentage of someone and chances that someone is going to be engaging with me if indeed they are. I'm asking them a question, I'm using their name. So that one is where it kind of goes a little bit, I might have a little bit more influence in one way or another, but ultimately we're talking about any kind of electronic communication, not nearly as touching, not nearly as impactful, okay? Then we keep moving up, handwritten notes. Okay, how many of you write handwritten notes? How many of you have ever gotten a handwritten note? Man, you've never done one, huh?
It's so
well, not in real estate, but I was in mortgage before I got my license. So our loan officers would do handwritten notes quite often, actually.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's so fun and exciting to get a little note in the mail, something personal. It's not a bill and not an advertisement.
Yep.
It's not a bill.
My mom makes Stampin' Up! Like full paper crafted greeting cards. So it's been around my life for a long time.
Like it. Okay. Now, I got recently 2 handwritten notes to my house from a couple of my agents who were just checking in with me. Now, I send them all the time, but I got to tell you, it made me feel so good. It was wonderful. People were just checking in, right? So there's a higher level of that when it's really handwritten and it feels good. I actually use a service called AM Cards because I've got left-handed horrible handwriting. So that's why I have to use my electronic iPad to where I'm writing so I don't smear things all over. So if you ever get a note from me, it's actually, I really am writing and it's just from AM Cards. So that's it. Okay. Now there is, phone calls are next to this, right? Now phone calls, handwritten note versus phone call. Why is a phone call higher than a handwritten note?
Immediate response.
Okay, great.
You get to interact instead of just a one-way note.
Okay, great.
Don't you think text is somewhere between handwritten notes and phone calls?
I'm so
I think
glad
it's
you just said
electronic
that.
communication, right?
It is. So
Yeah.
let's take a look at, I'm going to tell you a normal text message is between handwritten notes and phone calls, but a video text could actually be higher than that.
Yeah.
I started video texting because if you call your clients and you leave a message, most of those messages now go into a voicemail text. So they're reading the text, and the text to me is very impersonal. There's no inflection in your tone or anything like that, because they're not going into the to listen to it anymore. They're kind of reading it and getting the gist of it. So I started to do the videos, and I got more response or a text back or a call back more from doing a video message on the phone versus texting them on the phone. Like, oh, hey, sorry, I called you, tried to call you, sorry, I missed you. Wouldn't hear back. Did the video, heard back from them.
Every time. And I love that. We are going to come back to that because that is the perfect example, Trish. So thanks for saying that. We'll come back to that one for sure. Okay. I'm going to come all the way back to video text in a minute just because I think it's so powerful right now. Phone calls, obviously, because we can hear tone, we can hear inflection, right? I can't necessarily see you. Then we go to events and seminars. But here's the thing. Right between, and this is new for all of us living in this world right now, it's between phone calls and events and seminars, there's actually Zoom. It is video conference. And this, of course, didn't really exist when Michael wrote this book a few years ago. So it is about video conferencing and how can I have a conversation where someone can see me, they can hear me, they can, they can sense my tone. They can't feel my energy, right? That's the one thing all of us are missing right now. How many of you guys are just craving human contact right now? Anybody?
Oh, yes.
Right. You know why? Because you're all realtors. That means you're all very social people. So this, even if we're doing this a lot, you still are not feeling the energy. You know what I'm talking about, guys? That energy with someone. So that's why when we say events, seminars, we have people in the room. We can feel the energy. We can feel the vibe. There's something palpable about being around other human beings. And then, of course, finally, the last one is one-on-one meetings. And those are the most impactful. Now, what kind of communication do you think most realtors use?
Direct mail.
Okay, absolutely. That's a good one. What else?
Email.
Mm-hmm.
Email, yeah, probably.
Okay. Email or Facebook.
Yeah.
Now, they're wanting to build their business, and they're almost all of their plan is relying on Facebook and email and direct mail. Are they in the informational zone or are they in the influential zone?
Informational.
It is. It's the informational zone, right? So is everybody good with this? Anybody want to take a screenshot of it real quick before I take it down? And again, the book is The 7 Levels of Communication by Michael Marr.
You know what's so funny about that is my friend who's a loan officer and he's a referral partner of mine, he drove by last week and dropped me off this book and said, read this.
How cool is that?
So,
Love it.
I don't know, I haven't opened it up yet, but now I will tonight.
You have to open it up now. It's really interesting because he wrote it as a story. So it's a cool book. It's written kind of fiction and you'll relate to it like crazy. I think he just did a brilliant job of this book.
Okay.
One of my favorites for a long time. Okay, so I'm going to stop share. Hello again. All right, so as we're thinking about integrating our communication, everything really is about connecting. So let's pick an instance where you want to communicate. So let's give an example of a communication plan that you would love to put together.
Well, I don't know if this is the same thing you're talking about, but I was thinking about all the things that I say repeatedly through the process with a buyer or with a seller.
Okay. Great.
So I put together basically a whole plan from the first meeting for the meeting them at the thank you, it was nice to meet you, to scheduling our first appointment, to going out for our first showing, contract, what happens at closing, escrow, congratulations. So everything that I repeatedly says will all be in a video, and all will have, and the only thing I have to personalize below is the email, and that I'll have in BombBomb, and also can load up to my website. So it's also on my website.
Okay, I love where you're going there. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's think in terms of simply a communication plan that you've just had a buyer raise their hand and now they want to work with you. Now, here's the thing I want you to understand about that. Anytime that you're working with anybody new, you've got to tell them something, then you've got to tell them again, then you're going to tell them again, you're going to tell them one more time, and then by the way, you're going to tell them another time. When you're actually solidifying, working with any client, the more that they see you, the higher level up our pyramid, the better. So let's say someone came in and they found you on from a referral on Facebook. That was it, right? So someone has just come in to your world, okay? And they've connected with you on Facebook and they said, I want to talk to you about buying a house. Everybody with me? So now we have a buyer. Okay, so they've connected with you on Facebook. What's the very first communication that you would want to then send out?
Getting more information.
Yeah, what they're looking for.
So the intention would be to get more information. Okay. So we go over here, we say, we're going to get more information. So our intention, get info. So how are we going to get that info, Lindsay?
Say it's someone that I know through a mutual friend.
Okay. So
because otherwise it would be.
Great. So give me the type of communication you would use next. The person's raised their hand and said, hey, I was just referred to you by my friend Steve. And you say, okay, so they've communicated one way with you on Facebook. Now what is your first piece of communication?
A message back.
Okay, so it'd be a DM.
Yes.
Okay, so we'd say DM. What would be in the DM?
Thank you for reaching out. And then in order to have a more in-depth conversation, can I give you a call?
Okay, so you're going to be ask for a call, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And here, let me say, if they've messaged you too on the Facebook, then they're in there. So you could also do a Facebook call so you're face to face.
You could. So it just depends on where that is, right? So we've got, now here's a couple things. And I want you to really understand what our goal is to get information. Now, Lindsay, by the way that you're saying things, it sounds to me like you really do love to connect with people this way. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you see how her choices right now are highly connective? She's going for a higher impact. She's trying to get communication right now. Now, there might be another way you could do it. You could send them a direct message that says, click this link to go to my website to fill out some more information. Is that possible?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. That's a way of communication too, that maybe it's how do you gather. So you guys get to understand what's your intention and what's your outcome as you're designing anything that we're going through here. Does that make sense? So when you're thinking in terms of a plan, and by the way, what we're doing right now is we're actually setting up a SMART plan. Okay. So if we think in terms of just a buyer, right? We want to have one first communication, then we want to get in front of them as quickly as possible. Okay. Now what Lindsay's saying is she can make a phone call. Let's say that they gave you their phone number. Would you just pick up the phone right away, Lindsay, or would you still work at saying, hey, when can we schedule the call?
I would, depending on what the content of their message said, but most likely I would try and schedule a call to make sure that they're able to pick up at the time. And so I don't go to voicemail jail.
Love it. Love it. And so then they came back with you. And here's what we're doing. We're setting up a standard. Her standards for talking with buyers are going to be very highly interactive. That's her standards. Some people like it very, very analytical, and they like to have you do this, then you do this, then you do this. So there's no right or wrong. The thing is to have the plan. Our information, what we're trying to do right now is get info. So the buyer now schedules a call, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they let you know when to schedule the call. Okay. So we had a DM first, right? I'm going to go over here. Then we scheduled the call. So now we're going to have our call. In that call, Lindsay, are you going to send them any information prior to the call?
Yes, I would send information about pre-approval.
Great.
Is the main thing so that they're prepared for that conversation.
Great. And so that's going to be just direct information to them. So I'm going to put that in pink. Okay. So you see how we ask the question? What do you think most people do? They'll get someone who says, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house. What do you think the average agent does?
See, the average that I see is Keller Williams average, so it's a high average.
I know from experience, a lot of times the agents would be reacted like, oh, I got a referral. She texted me yesterday and she says, oh, just send me houses 500 and under. And I responded, I would love to do that, but that's not how I work. I go, one, because there are a lot of variables, location, style of home, you know, and other factors. So what I'd love to do is schedule a meeting with you so I can go over what your wish list is, the location you'd like to be in, your price point, and if you are already pre-approved.
Very good. Very, very good. So here's what I think the average agent who's not with Keller Williams, and certainly none of you guys do, is someone DMs them, right? They're either going to DM right back, or they're going to try to pick up the phone, or they're going to use this amazing organizational tool. Does everybody know what that is? It's called a Post-it note. Now, you do not have to raise your hand. Well, let's say that this person's name was Bill Jones. So people will write, I don't know, can you see Bill Jones on there? You can't, okay. So basically Bill Jones, and then I put it right on my computer to call back. And I always have my little Post-it notes everywhere. So do me a favor, look around your computer right now. Are there Post-it notes everywhere? You don't have to admit it.
I have a questionnaire that I have in front of my desk whenever I get a lead that I can, when I have that conversation and I talk to them, then I can start asking the questions and get the information I need and write it down.
Great. So you're gathering information. So you've got an intention of getting information. You've got the way to do it. Most agents, what happens is they get that information. They try to make a phone call. If the person didn't answer, they put it on a Post-it note. They put it over here, and then they forget about it.
And I guess the point you're getting to is they don't have a system.
They don't
do the next step, and they don't do the next step, and they don't do the next step, and
exactly.
Someone else is helping that person.
Exactly.
And in particular, Facebook has tools for that too. So, I don't put anyone into my database until I get a second piece of information, because otherwise it's too crowded. But Facebook has tools that help you keep track of who you need to respond to.
Exactly.
So. Oh, so are you teaching a class on that, Lindsay?
I am still figuring it out.
She's doing some amazing things right now. So I want to talk about some different types of ideas for communications. And I'm going to start off with Lindsay. I'm actually going to, and I think I still have it up. I want to make sure that I do. So I need to share with you guys, this has been so fascinating to watch my wonderful friend Lindsay over here. But she has this amazing page, and she has been the engagement goddess on her page here. Lindsay, I hope that's okay. I'm using you as an example right now.
Go for it.
Okay, can everybody see my screen here? So basically what Lindsay has done has decided to be a real person of information of where people can go during this whole coronavirus situation. And I love it. So not only does she do fun things like game night with people that she does virtually, I love this one that she's got Chaos in the Courts. This is a replay of a video that she did the other day. So people really understanding all the changes in that's going on. She's had fitness experts on here. She has had mental health experts on here. So what she's done is taken her preferred method of communication right now, which is Facebook, and turned it into a place where people can go for information. Does that make sense? I love where you're going on this. So let's take this a little step further if we can. What do you guys think about that, by the way? Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Okay. So let's take it a step further for just a second if we can. All right. Now, how many of you guys, I'm going to go in a little bit different direction here. How many of you guys have been really looking at your budgets, both personal and business, and slashing them like crazy?
I was already slashed.
Good. So we know that when we're divvying up, and this is something that you learned, and you can always go see the video of Chris Ranch as when he said slash for cash on his class on that. We're talking about taking all of your expenses and looking at, is this an absolute must-have? Is this a like-to-have, or is this I don't really need? So when you go through your own things like that, do you think that your clients might also need to do something like that? Maybe they also need to slash for cash just a little bit. So for you, maybe what you're doing is reaching out just like Lindsay did. It could be in a bomb video. It could, and by the way, Trish, you're the video goddess. If you guys ever want to see great videos, you go to Trish's Facebook page. She's just brilliant at it too. So what kind of information do your clients need right now? It's a reach out to them and helping them understand. So for example, let's say this is you, Trish, and you put together a short video on how you can go ahead and get your finances under control while people are getting laid off. Well, does anybody think that they know somebody who might have been laid off?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, right? So you can have a how-to video that you could text them. You could direct message them in Facebook. You could put it out as a general one. So there's ways that we start thinking about, okay, how can I keep top of mind? Because what we're talking about is not market share right now. It's about mind share.
Yeah.
Market share, not mind share. We want mind share. And so that's what Lindsay's been really looking at and focusing on, is getting mind share. Tricia, I know you do that a lot as well. So there's so many ways that we can look at doing mind share right now. So what are some other ways that we can get mind share in the situation that we're in?
Well, I think one of the things, and what happened to me was that I got really overwhelmed by everything. And I was so optimistic when we went into this, and then I just really got overwhelmed and found myself shutting down. And as you know, Kole and I had a conversation yesterday, and I was talking to someone to help me with something else and found out that they coached, and I have been looking for a coach. And it was just simply doing a video, letting people know how vulnerable I was as well, so that you're relatable. You need to do things where you're relatable. We are the experts, we are the knowledge person in our thing, but we also need to let them know that we're going through this with them. We're experiencing some of the same similar experiences they are having. And I said, you know, because everyone always says, oh, Trish, you're so upbeat. And I went, oh, upbeat Trish, needed to get a coach. Yes, I did need to get a coach, because I kept on hitting the ceiling, and I need to get past it, and I need to have tools. And it's letting people know that they can be vulnerable. So it's one, reaching out to them, letting them know you're human, you're vulnerable, you're going through this with them, you're experiencing some of the same things. And the other part is also coming to them with knowledge of the business, because, I don't care what the media says, your clients, I've been in this a long time, they're always looking for you to validate the reasons why they still want to buy and they still want to sell.
Sure.
And the other values is it be staging tips. Get a stager, Lindsay. I probably need that. Get a stager. Interview a stager. Take some. If you have some before and after pictures of any of your homes, then put that on Facebook and go over that, you know, there's.
Who else, I love where you're going on this, Trish.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep thinking about this. How many of you guys have small businesses in your neighborhoods? Do you think they might be struggling a little bit? So what could you do? Let's kind of take off this idea of what Lindsay is doing. Let's say that you get on them and you say, you know what I'd love to do? I would love to be able to interview you on Zoom and put that out on Facebook, and you and I can tag it like crazy to maybe help your small business. Would that be okay?
That's next week, hopefully.
I love it, right? So these are, again, ways that we can start really raising our level of communication and putting it out there. So now let's look at the function of that particular thing. The first thing we're going to be doing is finding the business. We're going to be making phone calls to the business and creating a relationship. We're going to say, this is what I'd like to do for you, right? So now it is really reaching, it's a higher level of impact, it's influential. We're going to be scheduling then that Zoom conversation. We're going to be recording that conversation. So these are some skill sets. If you don't have them now, these are the ones you're going to really want to learn how to do. By the way, every Thursday at 11 a.m., I think is it 10 or 11, I forget, Andrea does a great Zoom training class. So that's where I would tell you to go, and she can teach you how to do that. But then what we want to do is make sure that people see it. Facebook is really still the most powerful way it goes out. Now, here's what you could also do. I could put it on Facebook. I'm going to tag them. I'm going to tag a bunch of other people that I know that I think need to see it. So I'm going to really make sure that I'm engaging with people. I could send this out in a bomb video to other small business owners that I know, saying, hey, I just did this video. I just want to let you know I'd love to be able to talk with you as well. And that starts going out on Facebook. Now, it's a couple things that you're doing when you're putting it on your Facebook page and tagging people. You're helping out that business. Would we all agree that we're helping the business?
Yeah, that can be much more.
Absolutely. And the more that you're doing it and you're sending out, people are also going to be seeing you as someone who is influential and knows a lot of people. Okay. So if you look, and I really invite you guys to go look at Lindsay's page and take a look at how she's been doing some more interviews. It's really exciting. What you want to make sure you also do was, now let's say there are people who have liked the video. What's our next level of communication to people who've liked the video?
That's the step that I am implementing today, but I'll let everyone else go.
Great.
See if they can figure it out.
Talk about it.
Well, it's reaching out to them and starting a one-on-one conversation with them.
Absolutely. That could be direct message. You could be asking them their opinion. Hey, what did you think about this? What did you like about it? I really appreciate you reaching out. Do you know of anybody who this could help? Right? All of those things. So now we're starting to build deeper relationship. The more people see you as human, and that's what Trish really you touched on very well. I know Lindsay, you did a great job on this. The more people see you as human and the more you interact, the better. Now, the scariest thing for most people is that there's a lot of technology involved in everything that we're talking about. We've been talking about text. We've been talking about Zoom. We've been talking about BombBomb. We're talking about Facebook. This is our world now. By the way, I think that we are right now teaching all of our clients how to communicate with us in a new way. This is not going to go away, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think, so right now, if you're not engaged at a high level with technological communication like this, that's where your biggest learning needs to come from, okay? Ultimately, what we want to make sure is that we've got effective, powerful communication that has a plan. I know what my intention is. I know what my perfect outcome is. I'm going to really discover and decide what my channels of my channels of communication are going to be, using the pyramid to say, okay, I'm going to make sure I'm using the highest and highest levels. Now, you're going to have times you're going to cast a wide net. You're going to have times it's just information only that you're getting out to people. That's all good. It's understanding that that is important, making those choices. Does that make sense for everybody? What are our ahas so far? First of all, have we learned anything new today?
I was, wanting to interview and.
Hang on 2 seconds, Trish. Nan was trying to talk,
Oh,
but she got herself
Sorry,
muted.
I had it
No,
on mute because my husband's mowing the lawn. So I think knowing all these, I already know all of these levels of communication. However, this helps sort of solidify some that I need to concentrate on more.
Okay, great.
Yeah, definitely helpful.
Okay, very, very good. More ahas, learnings.
Helps me solidify the plan.
Yeah.
I want Trish to show me how to do bomb and Lindsay show me this stuff too. Maybe they could teach a class too.
Well, I'll tell you people, when you sign up for BombBomb, they have great tutorials. I would go through the 7 tutorials that they have. They're really short. And then the best thing is you can call them. And this is the best customer service I have experienced in years. And I needed to get something out, and she totally walked me through everything so I could get my first video out. I called one more time. Now I have another set of tutorials to go through, and then I'll have more questions. But they are so freaking awesome.
They are too. Although I think I might, Trish, ask you maybe to teach a class one of these days on how you do your little videos. You do such a good job.
The Quick Pro videos on your phone really kind of polish up your videos.
Yeah.
And I really, I really like that, because everyone should have a happy birthday video. Everyone should have a home anniversary video and a wedding anniversary video. And that's the thing, is I keep them on BombBomb. They have great real estate templates for you. You just I do my videos with Quick Pro. I download it, and then I can say, I have a BombBomb app. I download it onto my BombBomb app on my phone, and then it's in my little inbox. And then you just type your email, and you can have attachments and everything in there. So like I'm working on an embedded questionnaire. So someone's going to show me how to do that in Google Docs. So if I can learn technology, anyone can. But the Quick Pro, I'm happy. It's just that it's different between an Android and different between an iPhone. So it's easier if you have an Android for me to help. But Elsie, I think she has a iPhone, and she does incredible ones.
Right. Good.
No, I have an Android.
Oh, you have the Android too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll find someone with the iPhone to help.
We will figure that out, guys. Okay. So the biggest thing that, if we just talk about and kind of wrapping it up today, the thing is it takes thought, right? Whenever you're putting together any type of communication, engagement, sales plan, anytime you're talking about communication, you need to make sure you understand what's my intention, what's my outcome, what are my channels of communication that I'm going to use, and then what is the frequency. There is a plan. I'm going to do this, then I'm going to wait a couple days and I do this, then I wait a couple days, I do that, then an email goes out. So think through and be very purposeful with any communication you have. Sound good, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your wonderful days. I know you guys have a lot of family around you, and people are mowing lawns and people are doing things. I really appreciate you guys taking the time and spending some time with me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cole.
Oh, you bet. All right. I'll see
Thank
you.
you.
Take care.
Victoria,